Hi, it's Mr. Meister. I'm back in the control room again, and here today I want to talk about the job of the character generator. You may or may not know the character generator is the person who creates any graphics that appear over your video. So for example, if we were doing a news broadcast, and in that news broadcast, say I'm talking about soccer, you might see my name underneath here. You might see a picture of a soccer ball in this space over here with a little caption underneath it. All those graphics are created by someone who does what is called a character generator. Now, I often will refer to them as keys. I won't tell you why right now, but many times in industry they call them a key. So if you hear me say, hey, turn on the key or get this key ready, what we're really talking about are any of those graphics you need. Now, in a talk show like in this class, the keys are really simple to work with because we're really just talking about the title of the show, maybe the name of the host, the name of the guest, and the credits, and that's really it. So we're really talking about making 4 keys for your talk show, which honestly is pretty easy. So how do you do that? How do you create that? Well, if you're the character generator person, it's your assignment today to do that job. You're sitting somewhere right here in this area. You're going to be working with this computer, this mouse, this keyboard, and it doesn't get much more complex than that. So how exactly do you create these keys? Well, on this screen here, there are basically 3 areas that you want to kind of pay attention to. This first area over here is to select a particular graphic. Now, you may recall I said that there are 4 different graphics you're going to use. So if I want to edit or work with a particular graphic, this is my opening key graphic. This is my graphic for the host name. You can see here it says talk show host. If I click on this one over here, this says Elijah, my guest. And then obviously these are going to be my credits. So let's start off with changing, because it's going to be your job to update the graphics for each new show. So let's pretend we, for starters, want to change the name of Table Talk. All right, we say, well, that's such a silly name. Who would call it that? So we're going to, there's 2 tools over here that I want to point out here. One is a text editing tool, and this arrow here, if I click on it and then click on any graphic or anything that's in here, it allows me to move it around. Now, you usually aren't going to want to move the graphics around. There's no need to, unless like a name is too long and it starts going off the screen, then you might need to pull it over. But generally speaking, you're going to always be using this text editing tool. All right, so there we have the text editing tool. And so let's change this from Table Talk to, say, Mornings with, and let's call it Kristen, because Kristen is going to be my host today. So, and you'll know that based upon the rotation schedule. So I've got Mornings with Kristen in there. Obviously, Kelly and Elijah were the ones who did this talk show yesterday, so we want to change that as well. So I'm going to click on Kelly and get rid of Kelly and change that to Kristen with Kristen. And my guest name today, let's say, is Rick. All right. So we got Rick in there. All right. So now I've got my opening graphic done here. If I now want to work with the name of the host, let's work on that. Click on Host once. And notice here, here's Kelly from the previous day. Let's change this to Kristen Kristen is my guest. And we'll put in her last name. And then she's my host, so we got the talk show host in there. Let's change the guest now as well. So I click over here on the guest. And let's change Elijah Musafiri to the name of our true guest, and that is Rick Halupnik. All right, and he is going to be the guest on the show today. And then finally, we go to the credits here. So if I click on this credit thing here, notice they come up over here. And I might want to say, okay, now I need to update all of the positions that are in the studio. I want to change the director, the technical director, and all of these positions of what people are doing. Well, again, that's not hard. Just click on your text editing tool, and if my director is, someone else, then go ahead and key in that name. Now, as you get further down to like the floor director or camera 1 or camera 2, you might be saying, hey, I'm not in that other room over there. How do I know who's doing what? And how do I know how to spell their name? I mean, I can ask the director who's sitting right over here and say, hey, how do you spell your last name? I've tried to make this real easy for you here. Somewhere near this computer on this desk, you'll see a list of all the people that are in your class. And if you're wondering, okay, who's doing camera today, posted on the wall right here is a rotation schedule. So if we're on day 5 today, I can see on day 5 camera is person's number 12 and person's number 7. All right, so I can look on here. Person number 12 is Joshua Morris, and person number 7 is Olivia Mahalski. And so I can see those two names that correspond right here. I know how to spell them, so I can just key them right in here with all of my credits, all right, and get them all in there. Make sure you change the date, you know, so you update your date and then your date doesn't look like it's super old.